And Maggie Carter wasn't crazy. At least that's what she repeated every time the doorknob jiggled at 2. After a rough divorce and a custody agreement that felt more like a sentence, Maggie moved her 3 kids into a duplex on the edge of suburban Illinois. Quiet streets, Midwestern charm, and most importantly affordable. Her landlord, Daniel Rivers, was an old friend from high school. He said he was happy to help. That's what he said. The first month was smooth. Daniel was polite, distant, but then little things started going missing. Her oldest daughter's inhaler, a drawer full of chargers, Maggie's backup keys, harmless maybe. Until the night she came home from a late shift and couldn't get inside. The locks had changed. Her kids were asleep upstairs. The porch light was off. Her heart was pounding. She called Daniel straight to voicemail. The next morning Daniel acted confused. "Same locks, Maggie," he smiled, sipping coffee on the porch like nothing happened. "Maybe you were just flustered." Maggie didn't buy it, and that's when she started recording. She installed a cheap door camera, kept a voice recorder running in her bedroom. She even documented every conversation, every receipt. She didn't know what she was preparing for, but something was coming, and it came fast. 2 weeks later, Daniel confronted her in the driveway, smiling, calm, almost too calm. "I saw the camera," he said. "You think you're being smart, huh?" "I think I have a right to feel safe," she replied. He leaned closer, whispered like he was sharing a bedtime story. "You should be careful what you record. Not everything needs to be seen or heard." That's when Maggie said it, not loud, not even to his face, but into the recorder, just loud enough. "If I disappear, check room 204. That man said I won't leave alive." The next morning, the camera was ripped from the wall, her car tires slashed, and her youngest son swore he saw Rivers staring through the hallway vent at night. The police came, but Daniel had already prepared. He showed them a series of calm videos, Maggie yelling, slamming doors, arguing with her kids. "Unstable," he said. "I'm just trying to help." The officers gave her a warning at him, and that's when she realized this wasn't about rent, or rules, or even revenge. It was about control, because Daniel hadn't just changed the locks, he was changing the story. Maggie knew she was losing, not the argument, her reality. It started with a phone call from concerned reports, they said. Unstable environment. Her children were removed that afternoon. Daniel stood outside with a mug of tea, watching, smirking. Her oldest daughter Lily cried as they were taken. Her youngest asked if they'd see the dog again. The officers didn't look Maggie in the eyes, but Daniel did, and it wasn't pity. That night Maggie scrolled through every saved video clip, every voicemail. She wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating, she was unraveling, and Daniel knew it. But then she found buried in a deleted folder on her cloud backups, a voicemail from Daniel's ex-wife, a woman she'd never met, never even heard of. "If you're staying there, get out." He smiles in court. He smiles when he hits. Don't wait for proof. Just leave. It hit like a punch to the gut. The next day, she drove to the precinct with the voicemail and her files. She begged to speak with someone, anyone, but they had already seen Daniel's videos, clipped conversations, Maggie yelling after being gaslit, Maggie crying in her car, Maggie shouting when the front lock jammed again at 3 a.m. She looked unstable, emotional, dangerous. What they didn't see were the bruises on her wrist from when Daniel grabbed her during a kitchen argument, or the way her son flinched whenever Daniel's voice echoed through the wall. They didn't see the night Daniel stood outside her door, whispering through the crack, "You're not a victim, you're a tenant. Don't confuse the two." Maggie was now facing an emergency hearing. Daniel was filing for full eviction on grounds of harassment and emotional disturbance. She was cornered. Legally, emotionally, physically. Even worse, he wanted custody of her dog, claiming it was his therapy animal and that Maggie neglected it in her fits of rage. It was surreal. Then came the most haunting part. The night before the court date, Maggie received a package. Inside, a flash drive with no label. She plugged it in. One file. A grainy video clip. It was her, sleeping, filmed from inside her bedroom. She dropped it. Literally dropped it and backed away like it was poison. This wasn't just a power play anymore. This was war. And Daniel wasn't hiding anymore. He was watching, waiting, recording, setting the stage for his finale. Maggie sat at the defendant's table, her palms sweating against the cold wood. Across from her sat Daniel, calm, buttoned up, smiling like he was auditioning for sainthood. The courtroom buzzed with quiet anticipation. A few neighbors had come, Two of Daniel's co-workers, even the building inspector, who once called Maggie unpleasant after she reported a faulty boiler, and now, all of it mattered. Daniel presented first confident, collected. He called her erratic, claimed she refused to pay rent, said she threatened him and was emotionally unstable in front of the children. He played his edited clips on a courtroom monitor, Maggie yelling, slamming doors, and his final piece, a 10-second clip of Maggie sobbing alone in the stairwell. "This is who I had to live above," he said softly, shaking his head. "I was afraid." The judge nodded slowly. Maggie's chest tightened. Her turn, her lawyer, public defender, underpaid and overworked, was decent, but unprepared for Daniel's showmanship. But Maggie had one thing, the voicemail, and the flash drive. She requested permission to play both. The court approved. First came the voicemail. The room went still. Daniel's ex-wife's voice echoed. "He smiles in court. He smiles when he hits. Don't wait for proof." Then came the bedroom video. Silent. Grimy. Violating. Gasps filled the courtroom. Even the judge leaned in. Suddenly, the narrative cracked. Daniel's hands gripped the table. His smile faltered. Maggie stood. "This man is not afraid of me," she said. "He's afraid of being seen." A moment passed. Then witnesses shifted. The building inspector suddenly recalled weird energy from Daniel. A coworker mentioned he talked about getting her evicted a lot. The courtroom tilted. The judge called a recess. An hour later, Daniel withdrew the eviction case. But he wasn't done. The courtroom he served Maggie with a civil suit. Defamation, emotional distress, an insult to injury, unlawful surveillance. It would cost her time, energy, and what little money she had. He didn't care about winning. He just wanted to drain her. But here's the twist. Maggie posted the courtroom video online, with her story, with receipts, with names. Within a week it had 2 million views. Within a month, Daniel's ex-wife joined her with legal filings of her own. Within 6 months, Daniel disappeared from the neighborhood entirely. No forwarding address, no goodbye, just gone. As for Maggie, she moved, far away, into a new place. She still locks the windows, still checks her phone for unknown cameras, still flinches when a man speaks too softly, but now, she sleeps through the night, because room 2